Hello everyone. Today we will discuss research methodology and we will see the characteristics of scientific research. We will discuss what is scientific research and what are the characteristics of scientific research. Research conducted for the purpose of contributing towards science by the systematic collection, interpretation, and evaluation of data, and that too in a planned manner, is called scientific research. This scientific research is supposed to be scientific, systematic, and verifiable. We will discuss a little bit more about the characteristics of scientific research. So, these are the predominant characteristics of scientific research: empirical observation, replicable experiments, provisional results, objective approach, systematic observation, purposiveness, testability, rigor, parsimony, generalizability, falsifiability. So these are all various characteristics attributed to scientific research. So now we will discuss it one by one. When we come to empirical observation or empirical research is a research that is based on observation and measurement of phenomena as directly experienced by the researcher. So the data that's gathered by or gathered may be compared against a theory or hypothesis that you are going to test. But the results are still based on a real life experience. So in empirical research, it is actually observation or experimentation based research in which the researcher will directly experience or measure the phenomena or the results from the experiment output or from nature somewhere, and that will be a real life experience. Okay, that is empirical research. So there is experimental support or observation and experiment based support for such type of empirical observation and empirical research. Now, the second item is replicable experiments, which means scientific research must be replicable as the research results which are replicable have more acceptability and confidence as being scientific. So it will be more accepted. Such scientific results with replicability will have more acceptability and it will have higher confidence levels when we are coming to the public domain. And replicability means that if we use similar methods and procedures for data collection analysis as compared to the previous studies, then the other research studies must also come out with the same observational results. So we are actually adopting the same methodology, same procedure, etc. for data collection and analysis, and just like that of the previous observations or previous studies observation, subsequent observations or subsequent studies with the same methodology should come up with the same result, which means we have a replicable experiment and replicable result that will contribute to the actual scientific research. Now the next one is a provisional result. Science is constantly expanding. That means scientific research is considered provisional. Even the results of the research is considered provisional because it must be open for further studies and studies that can reaffirm or refute or reject or complement or support such findings in subsequent studies. And that is already discussed in one of the previous sessions, where science is not conclusive and we are not proving anything. If subsequent evidences were coming up with further direction towards refuting or rejecting that hypothesis or supporting that hypothesis, then certainly that will be accepted and the research or the overall knowledge will move in that direction. So the debate is a fundamental part of the scientific field. Therefore, a scientific investigation must be able to be questioned, and if there is some subsequent research proving contradictory to the hypothesis, then it must be able to rectify either by a hypothesis or that entire hypothesis needs to be rejected based on subsequent evidences. So that means the results were actually provisional and they were subject to verification in the coming years by other researchers. Then objective approach is another one. Objective approach to an issue means it is having due regard for the known valid evidence, that is relevant facts, logical implications, and viewpoints, and the human purpose, etc. So that related with an issue, we will consider and we will the valid evidence will be properly considered and due regard or due consideration will be given to the relevant facts and logical implications or viewpoints and other things. So such type of evidences needs to be duly considered if you are adopting an objective approach. If relevant valid evidence is denied, an objective approach is impossible. So if you have some evidence towards your hypothesis, and if it is blindly denied, for example, say there is some toxic effect for a drug, and the pharmaceutical company is actually neglecting that toxic effect or side effect, and that is not a scientific or objective approach. So if due to some reason relevant evidence is neglected or rejected, then that results in a non-scientific approach. The scientific research must deal with the facts rather than interpretations of facts. So we have to address the fact, not your own versions of the facts or your own interpretation about the fact. So the data that is collected for research should be free from all biases and vested interests. That is, observation should be unaffected by the observer's values, beliefs, and preferences or interests to the extent possible, and he or she should be able to see and accept the facts as they are, and the research should be, or the evidences of the research should be accepted as such without being influenced by his own values, beliefs, or interests. And that is one of the important points while doing scientific research. Now, systematic observation. Systematic observation is another criteria, another characteristic. Systematic observation is a method of quantitative data collection that involves one or more observers observing events or behaviors as they occur. So, and they reliably they are recorded. They record their observations in terms of previously structured codes or numerical character. It means they can record the results like height, weight, sex, or some other outputs. So anything you can categorize the observations, or OD or OD values or CFU values or colony counts, anything. So any categories or any codes can be given, and the data will be accordingly collected according to your research design. So pH, temperature, or cell count, or OD, or some enzyme production, means the quantity of the enzyme, the enzyme activity, anything can be a category. So such type of quantitative observation and should be done, and the systematic observation is actually a method of collecting quantitative data under different categories. So the next one is purposiveness. Scientific research must have some specific purpose for conducting the research. The main characteristic of scientific research is that there must be some purpose involved in conducting this research. In conducting further research process, all the activities to be carried out are directly influenced by the purpose of the research. That is, The purpose of the research forms the basis of your procedures, which influences your methods and of executing it, and it also affects the interpretation of your findings and the reasoning, everything. So your entire procedure, your methodology, your data, your interpretation of the data, your findings, your reasoning, everything is actually connected with the purpose of research. Why you are going to do the research, or what is the original intention of your research. Everything is connected with that purpose. Therefore, if your research has followed some major purpose, meaningful results can be obtained. But if your research is without any purpose, without any direction, it will lead to, or that study will lead you to nowhere. So that is the purposiveness of the research. So your methodology, your results, your findings, your discussion, and even the overall conclusion of your findings, everything, and interpretation and the reasoning, everything is actually connected with the original purpose of the research. So for every research, there should be a very good reason, very good purpose. And another one is testability. Testability means in scientific research, there is an important need to test the hypothesis to understand and find out the relationship between the independent and dependent variables. Therefore, testability is one of the important characteristics of scientific research. So, your hypothesis needs to be tested using scientific methodology. That is one of the characteristics. Then next one is a rigor. A rigor means the definition of rigor actually it states that it is a quality of being exact, stiff, and precise without change. So that rigor also means being thorough and accurate and staying within the boundaries. So your entire work should be staying within the boundaries and should be accurate, and you should be thorough on the procedures and protocols and basic principles. So then only you should be stiff on your work. Then only you can say that your work is rigorous. When we look at that qualitative research, it mostly does not lends itself into these stiff boundaries, qualitative research, whereas a quantitative research with specific numerical values or experimental outcomes, there you can confine to the boundaries of exact values, and there you can do rigorous research. Scientific research must be carried out carefully with the proper throughout methodology in order to make a meaningful and worthwhile contribution to the field of knowledge. This research must be carried out rigorously. Then conducting rigorous research actually requires good theoretical knowledge and a clearly laid out methodology. This will eliminate the bias, facilitate proper data collection and analysis, and also which will in turn lead to sound and reliable research findings. So rigorous research with very clear-cut throughput methodology and then all research design that is staying within the boundaries. So just like that of, for example, say literature research or something else, not scientific. In that case, they are actually qualitative research. They are doing qualitative research. In qualitative research, these strict boundaries cannot be defined, just like that of an experimental protocol. So here, usually in scientific research, we are strictly following some protocols, scientific protocols, established protocols, which will give you clear-cut boundaries, and the expected results cannot vary. Whereas if somebody is studying some artworks or literary works of some authors for their PhD work or something like that, then that means from person to person, their opinions, their views on that previous worker or previous novel laureate may change accordingly. Okay, so that type of qualitative research cannot be confined within the boundaries. Person to person, the result may vary. But if you are performing a rigorous scientific research, that means you are confining your research within strict boundaries set by the protocols, already established protocols. So if the same experiment is repeated by somebody else, you will have the same result. So that is the repeatability of that experiment will be there only if you are following such a scientific research. Okay. Then the next one is parsimony. Parsimony means scientific research must have must have the feature of parsimony. That is, the research should be conducted in a simple and economic manner. There should be simplicity in explaining the problems and generalizing solutions for the problems. Then vague ideas should be converted into simple concepts. So that is also required. There should be simplicity, uh, and and it should be conducted. The research should be conducted in a simple and economic manner. Parsimony means it's a reluctance or unwillingness to spend much effort or much money on the research. So your scientific research should have the feature of parsimony, which make the procedure simple and economical. So that is one of the important aspects. Then there should be generalizability. Generalizability means the scientific research must have the characteristic of generalizability, and the results obtained from the research must be applicable and acceptable worldwide. It should be generalizable. Then generalizability refers to the scope of applying the research findings of one organizational setting to other settings of almost the same nature. So if you can perform one experiment in India, and then you can generalize it, then that's experiment will have the same effect and same results will be produced worldwide wherever you are testing under the same conditions. So generalizability refers to the scope of applying the research findings in one organizational setting to other settings of almost similar nature. So testing conditions should be similar, then you can generalize it. The same result will be produced elsewhere also. And the more generalizable the research, the greater will be the usefulness of the value. For example, take the example of a COVID vaccine. You produce a vaccine with under some test conditions, and that vaccine should be applicable worldwide. So if it is applicable under our own conditions or our own limited to a limited group of population, then it is not a generalizable one. But anything or any product or any research or research products that is produced, if it is generally acceptable and if it is useful in a worldwide setting under similar conditions, then that is a more useful scientific research. Then the last one is about falsifiability. Falsifiability means falsifiability is the assertion that for any hypothesis to have credence or acceptability, it must be inherently disprovable before it can become accepted as a scientific hypothesis or theory. So a hypothesis or a theory, initially a scientific hypothesis, that's what we are going to work on. So that needs to be inherently falsifiable. So that means there should be a provision for falsification. For example, if someone claims that the earth is younger than many scientists state, means it is there, it doesn't have that much age, or maybe it is much more younger. Somebody is stating such a fact, and that fact was created, and in fact it was created to appear as though it was older through a deceptive fossils and other implanting such fossil evidences. So somebody actually manipulated the fossil evidences and they planted it so that it looks like Earth is much more older. So somebody can come up with such an idea. This claim is unfalsifiable because it is a theory that can never be shown to be false, because if somebody comes up with a fact or with a fossil or a very old fossil, then the one who proposes this hypothesis can easily defend that it is a false evidence implanted for looking the age of the Earth so old. So that type of concept cannot be accepted as a scientific hypothesis because it is inherently not falsifiable. So our original hypothesis needs to be tested, and there should be some provision at some point, not now, but at least at some point in future, that it should be falsifiable using some evidences. And if the future evidences were rejected in the original or the possibility of future evidences were rejected in the original hypothesis itself, then how we can say that this is falsifiable? For example, in the original hypothesis in this case itself, we are saying that originally the Earth is much younger, and the fossil evidences that you are digging out were actually implanted intentionally for looking or for creating an impression that the Earth is so much it is so old. So that second part of falsifying the evidence that actually rejects the possibility of falsifiability. So which means the entire theory or the entire hypothesis, scientific hypothesis, becomes invalid. Okay. So importantly, this falsifiability doesn't mean that there are currently any arguments against the theory, but only that it is possible to imagine that there should be some kind of argument which will support invalidation, or there should be provision, at least under certain conditions, this should be proved or rejected. So that type of further evidence should be welcome, it should be acceptable, or it should be accepted in the original hypothesis. If the original hypothesis rejects all the possibilities of further evidences, then that is not a scientific hypothesis. So that's the feature of falsifiability. And when we come to the original concept of falsifiability, this is one of the examples. This is taken from Wikipedia. A hypothesis, for example, all swans are white. So that is a hypothesis. And the observation of a black swan actually it falsifies the hypothesis all swans are white. So it may not be present in all countries or everywhere it is not present. So until this black swan is found at some point, the hypothesis that all swans are white, it is accepted. But it still opens the provision of a black swan or some other a gray swan or something or anything other than white. That color it may be present in nature. So that possibility is open. So even with no black swan to possibly falsify the hypothesis, it would still be falsifiable. Say this black swan is not yet discovered. Still, the hypothesis is okay because at some point in future, maybe 100 years back, 100 years after this period also, there's a possibility of finding a black swan, so which can be used for rejecting this hypothesis. So the falsifiability should be there for every scientific hypothesis. So this is all about the different characteristics of scientific research. Thank you.